This is the Palin Update on SaraNet Radio. I'm Kevin Scholla.
If it weren't for Billy Graham, I don't know where I would be. I don't know if I would be standing.
Sarah Palin among the speakers this past week at Reverend Billy Graham's 95th birthday celebration. We'll look back on that special night and have more on the incredible Billy Graham. Palin family friend and racing legend Parnelli Jones is here. The former Indy 500 winner will talk about his career and his recent visit to Alaska for a hunting trip. The Good Tidings and Great Joy book tour kicks off this week. Some very important puppies in Iowa. Governor Palin speaks at the Faith and Freedom Coalition dinner and honoring our veterans. A brand new Commonwealth Common Sense with Susan Stimpson's on the way. And just ahead, our latest edition of Steel Resolve with Sarah Steelman. First, our special guest. He is a Hall of Fame race car driver, and we are so happy to have him here with us today. Parnelli Jones, welcome to the Palin Update on SaraNet Radio. How are you, sir?
Fine, thank you.
Well, thank you so much for being here. You're really one of the greatest drivers of all time. And I got to ask you, when you look back at your storied career, what stands out to you the most?
Well, obviously, winning the Indianapolis 500, was the height of my career, and, always will be, I guess. It's just a fabulous race to win, and probably one of the largest races in the world.
You've developed a relationship with the Palin family. How did that come about?
Well, actually, I met him through some friends, and we wound up inviting him to come to Indianapolis last year, or this year, as a matter of fact. And we just became friends, and then Todd invited me to go caribou hunting with him, and I had a great experience up there. We didn't do too well hunting, but I went along for the ride and went up about 105 miles up this river on a flat-bottom boat, jumping logs and rocks and everything else, and it was like a Disney ride.
Alaska land, if you will, right? Yeah, it's a different world up there, and that is something else that you got to get that chance. What about the Indianapolis 500 this year? What was it like having Todd and Sarah Palin at this race with you on a day when you were honored?
Well, she's so popular, and she took care of herself pretty well because everywhere she went, she had a crowd following her. But it was nice to have them there, and gave me a little recognition, and I was very proud of that.
I did a piece with Todd after the race, and he had said he was going to take you hunting in Alaska for your 80th birthday, and you said that has happened since. So the experience was more plentiful than the animals you were looking for, I guess, huh?
Oh, it certainly was. I mean, it was really a thrill, and we had some great people along with us, and with my friend Walker Evans and of course Todd and the whole group of his friends, and it just was we had camped out for 3 nights. It was fabulous.
I know you got to spend some time with the family, little Trig Palin too. There's a great picture of the two of you together with a birthday cake. So the Palin family, I mean, Indianapolis 500 racing, someone like you, it's so American, and then to have you visit them, I mean, it's just the perfect setting. I mean, just having you up there with the Palins, I mean, it doesn't get more American than that.
No, I wasn't, and of course, this was my 50th anniversary. It was 50 years ago. I didn't realize that I was that old, but anyway, 50 years ago I won, and to have them come there, that was kind of an added celebration for me.
So what is new right now for Parnelli Jones? You have a book out?
Oh, yeah, we actually have a couple books. I have a book out called Parnelli, As a Matter of Fact, I Am. Kind of tells pretty much my whole story. And then we have a table book, which has the pictures of all of our famous race cars that we have. Our 3 winning Indianapolis cars that we'd won. I won a couple of times as a car owner with Al Unser, and we also won, the championship 3 years in a row and won 53 IndyCar races as a car owner. So I had a great career as being a car owner and as well as a driver.
Now, as far as the first book you mentioned and also the coffee table book, how can people get a hold of those? Any bookstore or online?
Well, you can get I know at coastal181.com. You can get my book, Parnelli, which is, as a matter of fact, I Am. So I have a lot of my peers talking about me, so they gave some great compliments.
You mentioned the reaction that Governor Palin got at the Indianapolis 500. I know she's been to many sporting events since she's hit the national scene, and racing a lot of the time has been that event. Can you give the listeners a feel of what it was like when she was there, the reaction from the crowd and just people coming up to her? They really relate to Governor Palin, at least racing fans, don't they?
Well, they do, especially in the Midwest, and the people back there, they really respect her, and as well as I do, and a lot of people do, and we've had her ups and downs, I guess, but she's such a great lady and beautiful at that, and just attracts a lot of great attention from a lot of well-wishers.
Now, Mr. Jones, the million-dollar question, you said you didn't see much caribou when you were up there with Todd Palin. Would you try it again if you had the opportunity?
Oh, sure. I really enjoyed Alaska, and I've got a lot of country in me, and the mountains and rivers and stuff like that are all right up my alley.
Hey, listen, maybe the caribou knew you were coming, and they knew your track record as a guy with a lot of speed. Maybe they didn't realize you have to be behind a car for that.
Yeah, well, I did see a bear and a couple of moose, so it wasn't a complete downer. Different
land than a lot of us in the contiguous 48 realize, right?
Well, it certainly is. I mean, a lot of people don't have the opportunity to see how beautiful that country is, and obviously the people up there are fabulous as well.
Now, you still have your hand in the racing game in different aspects. What's your feel overall today with where the racing business stands? I mean, it's popular now in some ways more than ever.
Well, NASCAR's been very popular because it's such an entertaining sport, when you can rub fenders like they do. You can't do that with Indy cars. But we've been struggling with our IndyCar programs because, I think a great deal because of a lot of electronics have taken some of the driver input out and also aerodynamics on the cars and stuff like that. It's hard to be creative and be a little different than somebody else, and I don't like that so well, and we need to improve ourselves.
Well, Parnelli Jones, we really appreciate you being here, a Hall of Famer, one of the best drivers there, and congratulations on all the honors you received at the Indianapolis 500 this year, and good luck on those 2 books that are out now, and continued success for you.
Well, thank you. My book's been doing well, and I've had a lot of book signings and enjoyed that as well, meeting a lot of people.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
For more on Parnelli Jones, visit vpjracing.com. Well, the Reverend Billy Graham is 95 now, and Sarah Palin spoke at his birthday bash. Governor Palin talked about her mom, Sally Heath, tuning in to the Billy Graham Crusades back in the 70s.
She heard about opportunity and invitation to have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ, to put one's life in our Lord's hands, and then to see where that would take you.
And then Sally Heath acted.
The message that Billy Graham had shared via those television waves rocked her world, transformed her life. My mom then led the rest of the family to Christ.
Palin is urging everyone to view My Hope America with Billy Graham, calling it a positive reminder that the answers our world needs are at the foot of the cross. Well, this is shaping up to be a huge week. Sarah Palin embarking on her book tour, promoting her Christmas book, Good Tidings and Great Joy. The tour starts in Pennsylvania, fittingly in Bethlehem, PA. And then it's on to Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, Kentucky, and Georgia. For the full tour list, the first leg of it at least, check out SarahNet Radio on Facebook. Governor Palin and her Iron Dog champion husband Todd met some real dogs this past week in Iowa. And these dogs are special. They're part of the Puppy Jake Foundation, which trains dogs for eventual adoption by those veterans who are suffering from ailments, including post-traumatic stress disorder. You can learn more at puppyjakefoundation.com. Also, while in Iowa, Governor Palin spoke at the Faith and Freedom Coalition dinner. Palin said it was wonderful to see so many inspiring and patriotic Iowans. She says they join other hard-working Americans as the wind beneath the wings of our great republic, and their hard work and activism make a difference. To see any of the governor's posts in their entirety, visit Sarah Palin's Facebook page and follow her on Twitter at Sarah Palin USA.
It's time for Commonwealth Common Sense with Susan Stimson and Kevin Scholla.
Hey, Susan, how are you?
I'm doing great, Kevin. Thanks for having me on.
Well, a big week for the Reverend Billy Graham, 95. Sarah Palin, one of the fortunate ones, able to help celebrate that birthday with Billy Graham. And unbelievable that he's still just such an inspiration to so many Americans all these years.
It is, and at his birthday celebration, Governor Palin was there. They had a host of different guests. And if you look it up on the Internet, it's myhopeamerica.org, and this is Billy Graham's final crusade. And so many people have talked about, how he has impacted their lives, but I think it's certainly appropriate for today. We've just come through a really tough election, and we have a lot of very pressing issues in front of us, and there still is hope for America. And so I think that, in all of the things that you and I are fighting for and that we care about, Billy Graham just has a wonderful way of summing it up of what our hope really needs to be in.
With his big birthday here, they've been playing a lot of clips of Graham through the years, and it's amazing when you see him speak at all of these events and all his crusades through the years and years ago, decades ago, and his message just really rings true today just as much as it ever did, and whether you hear him talk today or hear him talk, from a while back.
And I think that he would probably say the same thing, that he's seen different patterns over and over. He's been with John F. Kennedy, that president, all the way up to today. But he did say in this video clip, if you watch the promotions of it, that he has wept for America, of how our nation is turning from God. And I just think that this is just going to be a very uplifting thing to watch. Fox News is going to be playing it tomorrow night. Sarah Palin said that it changed her whole family's life, that her mom used to watch his crusades in the 70s, and that it really turned her life around, and she feels like it set her family on a different path.
That's such an amazing story, really, that, Mrs. Heath caught on to Billy Graham there, and that set their family on the right path, and now Governor Palin and Todd able to spend some time with him now and again, including for this birthday. You know what I found just terrific about Graham, too? Still speaking, I mean, he's still just, so with it, and his message is still so lucid, and, just how he talks about the cross and the joy that he has talking about it, and also in this crusade that he's running now, and the things that are online that you mentioned, he shows these people who did not know Christ yet and now do, and how it turned their lives around. So when you see these individual stories and really humanize it for people who maybe want to see, instead of just words, see the actual tangible person in front of them, I think he really brings that home in a powerful way.
I agree, and I think especially right now, it just seems that America just has a tone. There's just such a tone of disagreement, and that as long as we are speaking truth, that truth doesn't see Republican or Democrat or black or white or man or woman. Truth is what it is, and I think that Billy Graham, it's just a good reminder to all of us that that's what our hope really needs to be in, is God's truth.
And you see his son Franklin Graham, all the great work he does with Samaritan's Purse, and Christmas coming up, Operation Christmas Child, where they send these shoe boxes over to children in third world countries, packed with toys and supplies and whatnot, which is great. And also, of course, with the tragedy going on in the Philippines right now, you see how the Graham family and, Billy Graham, of course, the patriarch there, but the Graham family really out there and just reaching out to people all across the world and doing so much good all these years.
Agreed, and I don't know if you had a chance to see this, but in reading the articles about the birthday celebration, that even Donald Trump came in for the birthday celebration. So you had Governor Palin that was there, and Donald Trump was there, and Greta Van Susteren was there, and it was just a real mix of different people that wanted to honor Billy Graham on his 95th birthday.
And you can see the attraction with the Palins to the Grahams, too, not just from the spiritual level, but I heard Billy Graham's grandson speak the other day, and, it made me think of the Palins in a way where they talked about him as he's such an extraordinary person, obviously, and how he attracts hundreds of thousands of people to arenas and stadiums all these years, but to his grandkids, he was their grandfather, and he said the proof of that was, I want to say he said he has 18 grandkids, somewhere along that line. Only one of them runs a church. Only one of them's a pastor. So, it just showed that, they didn't push anything onto anybody. They waited for everybody to come around, find their vocation, find their calling. And I think that says a lot about him as a man, not just a spiritual leader.
I agree. And his son Franklin was talking about this being his father's, final time of doing this, that he would not be able to do this again, but that he had really put forth this effort to do this final crusade. And so I'm excited to see what good things will come of it.
Well, it's very inspirational, Susan. I'm glad you brought it up this week. And it also, like you said, when there are tough elections or things that we kind of dwell on and work so hard on, maybe get some disappointment, someone like Billy Graham can put things into perspective and, know that things will be taken care of.
I agree. And, Kevin, thanks for the opportunity to even talk about this. Susan
Stimson, thank you. We'll see you next week.
See you then.
Susan Stimson in Virginia. More Commonwealth Common Sense next week. Now, our weekly commentary, Steel Resolve. Here's Sarah Steelman.
Thanks, Kevin. As most of America tries to decipher the Obamacare mess, much of the rest of the world is watching as Obama acquiesces to the Iranian terrorist regime. Over the past week, the 5 permanent members of the UN Security Council, plus Germany, appear ready to strike a deal with Iran, agreeing to loosen sanctions in exchange for something. But for what is the question? Some say perhaps a commitment from the Iranians to limit uranium enrichment and maybe slow down their plutonium nuclear pathway. Maybe. Obviously, the best leverage the U.S. and the rest of the world have against halting Iran's development of a nuclear weapon are the strict financial sanctions that have worked to squeeze Iran's economy. To loosen these financial sanctions without proof and verification that Iran has stopped its enrichment of uranium is preposterous and dangerous. But apparently, Obama has already loosened some of the sanctions, as reported by Eli Lake and Josh Rogan in the November 8th Daily Beast. In their article, they report that a review of Treasury Department notices reveals that the United States government has all but stopped the financial blacklisting of entities and people that help Iran evade international sanctions since the election of its president in June. President Obama, the leader of the free world, is playing a high-stakes game of risk with Iranian thugs. Let's pray he doesn't double down on this one. This is Sarah Steelman for SaraNet Radio.
Tune in again next week for another segment of Steel Resolve right here on the Palin Update. The Palin Update, including Commonwealth Common Sense and Steel Resolve, is on demand and available for download. Just head to SaraNetRadio.net, pick the show you want to hear, and you can listen anywhere, anytime. As we remember and honor our vets this week, I want to say thank you to all those who have served and all those active duty service members. I think of my grandfather, who served us in the Air Force. I also think of Sarah Palin's son, Track, and her cousin, J.D. Morgan. I think of Susan Stimson's husband. And I'm in awe of the sacrifice that all the men and women that have fought for us and continue to fight for us have endured. From all of us here at SaraNet Radio, thank you to our veterans, not only on Veterans Day, but every day. For a list of businesses and restaurants that have some special deals for our vets, visit militarybenefits.info. Well, that'll just about do it for this edition of the Palin Update on SaraNet Radio. Visit SaraNetRadio.net for continuing coverage of Governor Palin. Also, follow along on Twitter at SaraNet Radio, at Kevin Scholla, at Susan B. Stimson, and at Sarah_Steelman. For a full recap of everything you hear on the Palin Update, plus more news regarding Governor Palin, head to our Facebook page and like SaraNet Radio. Also, like Kevin Scholla on Facebook. Palin Patriots is our feature on SaraNet.net. Check out the writings from our great panel of contributors, including Martha Zoller and Bader Carmoot. And I'm doing some writing for Breitbart News. Just go to Breitbart.com and search Kevin Scholla. I want to thank Sarah Steelman, Susan Stimson, and everyone here at SaraNet Radio. Thanks to Parnelli Jones, and thank you for listening today. Please be sure to join us again next time for another edition of the Palin Update. I'm Kevin Scholla. When you see a vet, make sure you say thank you. Have a pleasant day.